And what these athletes are going through is Olympic sports psychologist, Dr. JoAnn Dahlkoetter. Doctor, let's begin with what happened to Vincent Joe. This is a dream for these athletes to compete at the Olympics. Describe the emotional toll it can take being forced to drop out.
Right. The emotional toll is incredible. This athlete and all the athletes have tried so hard, taking extraordinary measures to protect themselves from getting COVID or from testing positive. And so when you find out that kind of news, I mean, think about all the years of training. It comes down to a few moments of being able to perform. And so it can lead to depression, anxiety, and real mental health issues. And that's why sports psychologists are so important in the Olympics, I think, to really help with not only the competition, but the athletes' overall mental health and well-being. And I think that's what really is being highlighted here is that athletes are saying their well-being is more important even than competing.
What kind of advice or what would you tell someone like Vincent Joe who is now forced to go through something like this mentally? How do you help him?
Yeah, I think that I work with athletes for the last 5 Olympic Games and for this Olympic Games, and I'm telling my athletes to be able to prepare for all the different scenarios, the possible scenarios. Most athletes only have one plan, a plan A, a sort of hope and pray plan, but many things can happen, and it's really important to be able to visualize all the different scenarios that can happen, including being able to if you test positive. And so I would tell athletes that this is possibly clearing the way for even a bigger comeback. And I think that with this athlete and with all the athletes there's you need to set another goal. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Vincent has talked about competing in the upcoming World Championships in March. And so there's always another goal to look forward to.
We hope that he does. New details are coming out about China's strict COVID protocols. We're hearing the athletes are confined to a strict closed loop bubble and can only travel on special buses back and forth to the venues. How much added pressure is that and stress to what they're already going through?
Yeah, I think there's just so much pressure here for all of these athletes, and they're wanting to focus on their sport and on competing. And with all of the added protocols, the isolation, the testing, being away from family and friends, being away from their normal support system, it just adds so much stress. And I think at a certain point, athletes can really break down mentally. And I think that's where it's really important to be able to connect with someone. Most athletes are connecting with people on Zoom, mm-hmm. and my athletes I'm working with, I'm connecting with them, through Zoom, through phone, through any means that we can. But we realize how important that face-to-face communication is, and we really need that in our lives so much more now than ever.
We do. Dr. Dahlkoetter, athletes are also talking about the quarantine. They're forced to quarantine those who test positive for COVID. We're hearing about some really rough conditions, the quarantine conditions, no internet, really bad food, and dirty rooms. What are your thoughts on that?
It's such a different environment than most athletes are used to. A lot of athletes are used to having everything done for them and have the conditions just right, and this is so different than before. I think it's something that you have to, I teach my athletes the 3 P's of your performing edge, of positive images, how to be able to see yourself doing it right no matter what the conditions are. And the second P is what I call power words, how to do say what you do want, don't say what you don't want. So you don't want to say, I don't want to crash, but I do want to relax, and I do want to do my best no matter what the conditions are, no matter what's going on. And the third P is what I call present focus, how to be right on, right here, right now, fully in the present. So you're not worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, not worried about the mistake you just made, but thinking about just being right on, right here, right now, because that's all we have control over.
Yeah, control what you can control. Dr. JoAnn Dahlkoetter, thanks so much. You do a really important job, and we're all enjoying watching these athletes perform at their just peak level. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having